It's the Origins challenge. Seems very fitting that we've got Shane as the star hero. I'm going to give him this, the golden crossbow. A lot of people have recommended him with various crossbows, usually Daryl's. I haven't got that leveled up, so we're going with the golden crossbow. Yumiko is coming here so that we get more hits from our team. And then Rick, he's here just because it's Shane. Of course Rick's got to be there. Shane is a pretty good hero. I wouldn't really consider him to be S-class or anything like that. But his leadership trait is a lot of fun. It can be very effective when you have bunches of walkers all kind of like crunched up together. Very, very useful. And of course, the damage that you can cause with his charge attack, it's done as a percentage of the target's health. So it doesn't matter how tough the target is. If they get hit by an exploding walker that you detonate right next to it, it's going to take a set amount of damage. Doesn't matter, doesn't matter how tough they are. Very quick mission that. So the key thing is, there's 2 steps. Save the survivors and then get out of there. At this point, we can just shoot the walkers that are attacking the survivors. No problem. Later on, it might be a little bit more tricky. Saving them might require some different strategies. What you could do is you could use Shiva, the support, or Dog. Activate them, they will attack the nearest walkers, and that usually is enough to make them, it is enough to make them let go of whatever they are attacking. So you don't have to kill whatever is attacking the survivors. Just make them let go. You could similarly stun them, knock them out of the way with something like a mace. I don't think herding will get their attention if they are attacking a human. Might have to check that. Maybe even you could use the flag and you could confuse one of them to attack the other, make them let go. There's a lot of things that you could do. But if you can't focus enough firepower or cause enough damage to kill those things, just think about other ways that you could do it. Maybe with stun grenades, things like that. Knocking on heaven's door, bang on the door of the CDC. Okay, we're bringing another Origin character. This time it's Glenn. And I think let's give him the flag. I love the idea of this pizza boy with the flag. It's kind of interesting. He's going to be occupied. The reason why I'm bringing Glenn is that knocking on the door takes multiple turns. But you sort of do one knock at a time, if that makes sense. We'll get to the door and I'll show you what I mean. One thing I do like about Shane having a crossbow is that it's quiet. It's kind of nice. So, 1, 2, 3. This might be very important on later difficulties when it gets really tough. Now, all you've got to do is you've got to get past those walkers that are between you and the door. Could well be if you use this tactic, you could just throw a flare, run past them, open that door. It's not about killing all of the walkers that are on screen. It's about getting that door open. So definitely bring in Glenn. Big help. You could use flares. You could use stun grenades. You could use the Walker's Mask. Good support to use for something like this. Characters like Huntsman Daryl or Beta. Maybe something like a Bruiser with the Riot Shield so that you can herd the enemies. All you've got to do is get past them. Not kill them. You've got to get into the CDC. Thin the Horde attacking the farm. So this is a pretty straightforward shoot 'em up type mission. Let's just see what we get. I think for the most part, the walkers are fairly sort of spread out here. Still say Shane kind of looks... He looks like a cross between Jon Bernthal and Joe Rogan. Okay, yeah, okay, so this isn't exactly the mission that I was thinking. That's kind of okay. So there you go. We've taken out a big guy just right off the bat. I think that ranged characters pretty good for this one. As it gets trickier, you might want to mix things up. Obviously, Confuse could be a big help here. So the flag might come in useful, but then you've got to get close enough to actually use it. So I think I've almost always used ranged characters. It's short, it's sweet, but you're going to have to be able to deal with things like tanks. Certainly, it's a fairly large map. So if you've got Incendio on some weapons, if you can set the targets alight, it's pretty good. Pretty handy. You've got a good couple of turns for it to work. If you've got an assault weapon with a big wide arc, you know, you're probably going to be able to hit a lot of things. Tyrese with his debuff circles, slowing down everything that walks through it. Beth, I've been having a lot of fun with her, creating that circle that means that your attacks cause a lot more damage. Connie could be great as a leader or as a team member. And there's plenty... They start off in a couple of clumps, so Shane actually not a bad leader. Of course, you need ranged characters to get the most out of him. Now, Yumiko is obviously a great choice here. I'm actually going to go with Princess, only because Mercer's already hurt, and I'm not going to fix him up. I refuse to let Rick go, just because, again, it's Shane. I mean, for this... Oh, what the hell. What the heck. Shane is just too much fun with the Blaze Guard, so let's do that. What a weird set of weapons. Look at that. They look like they're cosplaying something. I don't know. Now, I'm liking this. I'm liking the fact that we have got a bunch of walkers all starting crunched up next to each other. And then they're kind of separating out a little bit here. But I feel like we're kind of making the most of Shane's leadership trait. And that's something that I like. That's something I would love to see more of in the weekly challenges and things, where you're like, this is our star hero. Let's say that it's Glenn. And then you have a lot of search the crate type missions. That kind of thing, I think, is always very good to see. And we've got a set of missions here that do make use of Shane's leadership trait. So you got walkers coming from all round. That's tricky. Hard to defend yourself. This one may be a little bit more suited to a melee team if that's what you want to bring. You know how many turns you've got. Okay, and then we do have to actually get to the exit. Do more walkers just keep on pouring out? No. Although, you could start that last turn. If you could get here, where Shane and Rick are, that's going to spawn block the walkers that would appear in the very bottom right corner. You could always, just to get yourself out of a turn, end the 5th turn on those green patches. And then you just get out. You don't even have to worry about the last walkers that come out. But you better be prepared for them to just be appearing. I mean, at first they start on the left of the screen, and then they're just coming out. No matter where you put yourself, you're potentially at risk. I guess if you turtle up in one corner, the top or bottom right, I recommend the bottom right because that's where the escape grid is. At least you'll have all of your targets in front of you. It just might mean that some come into the map and they are close to you. So, got to be ready for that. Get through the gate into the alley and kill the boss walker. Oh. See what I did there? Okay, so we got Rick. And we got two... We've got Rick. We've got a mortal enemy. And we've got a kind of a frenemy. Ugh, hate using that term. So we're not going to get the most out of the exploding bullets here. Yeah, but I'm happy to use this little team. I'd love to see a conversation between these three. Okay, whole bundle of walkers that we're going to have to deal with. Otherwise, they're just going to be chasing us. I don't like those kinds of loose ends. Nice. Kind of don't like where we are at the moment. I can see those little vibrations that mean that something is down here. And of course, Shane's ability, those exploding bullets, they don't actually make noise. They don't make additional noise. Usually if you're going around exploding things, it will add to the threat counter. It might seem like it goes without saying, but that's not the case here. So, where's this big, scary boss walker, huh? I mean, that fence is glowing red, so I think that this guy appears as soon as we start working on that fence. That seems to make sense to me. I'm going to keep my guys here, Shane and Rick, just keeping an eye here. So we've got sort of a mix of objectives here. We've got to get past the bundle of walkers. We've got a load of them pursuing us, potentially. And then, of course, we do have to actually turn and kill. It's not just one of those ones where we can just hightail it out of there. We do have to kill something big and scary at some point. So you better be ready for that. Now, ideally, if you can just run past everything, you can get to the end, you can start opening the gate, then you can just isolate that armored walker and you can deal with it. I think it's worth bearing in mind, of course, if you have Yumiko in your team, or Connie, you can still have the person who's opening the gate be of use. If they're a ranged character and Yumiko shoots and the target is within line of sight and range of the person opening the gate, they will turn around and shoot. And if Connie is the one who's opening the gate, as long as everyone cuddles up next to her, you still get the benefit of her leadership trait because you're still in proximity at the end of the turn. Characters like that can still be useful even if they are engaged in an action like opening a gate. Get to the van. Use camouflage if you want to walk amongst the walkers. If you want to walk among the walkers. Yeah, that's pretty ropely written. Negan, let's replace you with your best friend. I love the idea that we've got some guts that we can use on this. And we also have the pouvoir flag. That means that we can confuse the enemy. But if we're searching things... Yeah, so I mean, that's what we've got. I don't think there's a limit on this. I think everyone can use it. Now, because it's early on, I'm pretty confident that we can do a good job of killing whatever is in front of us. But, I mean, it's in the mission description there. You can use them guts. Okay, it might be that Glenn's going to get attacked or Rick. Let's just... Okay. How long does this take to open? 2 turns. Okay, so that usual thing applies. If you've got a character who's engaged, there are some heroes who can still be of use. They can still make use of the person who is doing something. Rick, do you want to kill these guys? 2 turns. 1 turn. Does that do anything? No. Could be that Glenn is perhaps not the most valuable hero here. I thought I remembered those things that you interact with. I thought I remembered them only taking sort of like 1 turn, in which case he could get them done and still have an action left. I guess that's not correct. Everybody here. Now, when you start doing something, like interacting with something, that's it, the guts wear off. But your other guys could always, say, go here and here, and if a walker appears sort of here, you know, then it's got to go around your guys. You can sort of slow them down. They will not get attacked if they are gutted up. But it's nice. It's one of those missions where you've got a couple of ways that you can do it. And if you are struggling one way, you can just change tactics. It's a good set of missions. I mean, using guts, that sort of goes back to the origin. I know that they used them throughout the series. They used that whole cover yourself in walker guts, camouflage yourself tactic. But it felt like a bit of an early kind of season thing more. Maybe that was just the comic books. Okay. Are we back to the start? We are. This is a really good set of missions. I don't think it's massively hard, but there is some challenge to it. And I think these are a fun set, and I think we've got a star hero who actually fits with the theme of this challenge and is a boon for some of the missions as well. So I think this is a good one. Hopefully you and your guild will do very well. If you have any particular questions with any particular mission, please do let me know. Either me or somebody else will help. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching.